Good morning, guys. Um, this morning I wanted to come in and I wanted to do a video on Black Lives Matter. Now, um, I'd a lot of times I will say things about Black Lives Matter, but I really hadn't done an actual video on Black Lives Matter. And I know that I've said that I don't agree with the group. I don't think that they are a help to black people, and I don't follow them. Now, I've gotten backlash from black people who don't understand why I say this. And when I try to show them why I feel like this, what I usually get, I try to tell them to do some research on this group. They refuse. So, you leave it at that. I mean, I'm not going to sit and argue with someone who refuses to do research, because if I've done my research and I know something that you don't know, you really can't argue with me because you don't know what I know. Now, if you take the time and do the research, then we have something to reason about. So, you know, Black Lives Matter has been at, I guess, the center of all of these police shootings that come out. Um, Please go, I'm going to tell you off the top, please go and do research on the Black Lives Matter movement, how it began, who it's funded by. We know, and I've even put out videos about this George Soros guy who the group is funded by, but he's not the only one. There are other very rich, very wealthy people who fund the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, some things that we as black people, I mean, I'm really sorry to say, but we don't think a lot. And I understand that we have been trained not to think all the way through school. They tell you what you're supposed to know. Even the news tells you what you're supposed to know and even think at this point in the game. They're telling us what to think, what to believe, the whole thing. So that's not a thing for us. And um, I'm not being ugly toward my people. I'm being honest, because it's even with white people. They don't think in this day and age. People just don't think. They let the news think for them. They let celebrities and whoever else influence their decisions, and they don't go and research and look into things themselves. So please go and do that research on Black Lives Matter and the funding behind it. It's just some things that I want you to look at and notice with Black Lives Matter. One of the main things that I need you to look at and notice with Black Lives Matter is that there are more, if not just as many, white people out there as black. Now, what that would do is that would make you say, oh, well, they are standing behind us. They do care. Now, and I'm not going to sit here and say that there are not, some white people who do not care for our cause. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm going to have to get back to that. That's incoming message. But anyway, we have to think about, we have to look at what we see. We have to begin to trust our eyes. We have to begin to trust our ears and trust our minds and those things that are coming into it. And don't just let those things just, fall by the wayside. Now, as I say, there are as many, if not Um, there's a huge amount of white people that are out at these protests saying Black Lives Matter, but yet we don't really see white people on a daily basis and on a when other things come up besides killings, because that's not the only thing that affects black people is killings. Um, there's educational things, there's housing things, there's things with the water. We had that big thing in Flint, Michigan with the water, down in Louisiana with the water. I mean, it's just so many causes that black people have that I feel like if white people really wanted to um, fight our cause, they could, because they have the influence, they have the voice. You might as well say it's their government. I mean, everything that can make a difference with us, they can help, they can assist. And so, therefore, I think there is an agenda behind Black Lives Matter. I think that there's a lot of mockery with it. I also think that Black Lives Matter is there and set up and organized using black people who I think really don't have a lot of understanding. There's a lot of young people out there who, in my opinion, are being used. And they're being used to, what they're doing is they're committing violence against black people through this movement because they're out there protesting, or because they're holding up signs, or whatever they're doing, or because some of them get angry and want to begin to fight back or whatever. So then that gives this new militarized police state that we have in this country to fight them, to hurt them, to arrest them, to abuse them. And so I really think that Black Lives Matter organization was organized and put in place to help bring all that about. We heard in Dallas. Now we hear this new, and if you ask me, it was an introduction to them now using robots as police to kill. Um, uh, and there's a lot of other things that they are saying that these robots now are going to be able to do. Um, I think it's a lot of fear that um, I think it's a lot of fear that is coming at the public through robots and through this militarized police. And I mean, it's all an intimidation type thing for you to be afraid of authority, for whatever plan this new world order has uh, in plan for black people and plan for all people, because there's a lot of really ignorant people who are actually thinking that it's only going to be black people that's affected, and that's not true. It's, if you want to really know the real war, it's the poor. It's going to be the poor, whatever color you are. um, Also, as I said, one of the things with Black Lives Matter, one of the things in this country that we know gets results is their law. When they go to their law, when they talk to their politicians and their senators and mayors and these things, usually something happens. Okay, so we know in this country there's nothing that is going to be solved, eradicated, even looked at, unless it goes by the law. So I see I don't see Black Lives Matter going to the law at any time, at any point. In my opinion, it would make so much more sense, instead of just there being a fight and there being anger toward black people, that they would, since they are calling themselves an organization, that they would actually go and use the government, use the law, begin to, if you're speaking for the community, if you said that you're speaking for Black people, okay, you know all of the things that Black people are facing. Well, then go write up a bill, write up something, given the demands, given the needs in the Black community. Say it's toward the school system. Start enacting things and saying that we want better teaching, better teachers. We want certain kinds of curriculum in our schools for our Black children. We want there to be 3 or 4 or 5 doctors before, the teacher is able to recommend that these little children go on Ritalin and all these other type of medications and so forth. Let them begin to start saying that, we, because of the way housing goes, we want landlords to begin to do this for Black people. We want landlords to begin to soften up in this area. I mean, there's so many different things, as I'm trying to say, that Black people need in this country. And if you have an organization that's saying that they are speaking for us, well, then speak to the issues and go to a forum that is going to be productive. Go to the government, go to the local government. There was a video that someone was passing on YouTube where there was a older white gentleman who had gotten out of his car, and he said something along the lines of, "Get these SOBs." Of course, he said the words, "out of here, because I have an appointment for open heart surgery." He, in Black Lives Matter, I don't know what city that was, but they had blocked the street and had stopped traffic. And to me, all that does is cause anger and division. That's what that does. That makes Black people a spectacle. That stopping traffic, in my opinion, does nothing. It draws attention to a lot of Black people in the street holding up signs and yelling out Black Lives Matter. Okay, but as I say, if you want to really get something done, go stand out in front of some of these politicians' houses. Even go stand out in front of, and I'm not telling anyone to do this or organize. So this is not me coming up trying to tell somebody how to rebel against anything. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to give my opinion on some things that I think would work much better than things like making the police and other people mad. I mean, it does nothing, because once they go in the house and once they leave and put their signs down, then what was accomplished? There was nothing accomplished, except you made a whole bunch of people probably late for something. There was really nothing accomplished. So this is why I say, go to the local government. Why don't they go to the local government? Why don't they go to the, stand out in front of some of these courthouses and yell Black Lives Matter? Do something that's going to really make a difference. Okay, and the reason I brought up that older white gentleman was because someone had put up the video as if, oh, he's being racist. He's telling them to get the SOBs out of there. But I understand that. I understand that, because people have lives, people have things to do, people have jobs to go to, people have, as this man said, doctor's appointments. People have, when I was a single mom, and I'm just putting myself in this because I remember back when I was a single mom, and my daughter was in daycare. I don't know how many of you know how daycares work, or maybe they work on a different, state to state, or daycare to daycare may work differently. This particular daycare, and a lot of daycares, begin to charge you more when you're late. If you are not there by closing time of the daycare, they call CPS and have your children picked up by the police. Now, I would be highly pissed off if Black Lives Matter is blocking the street and I have to go and pick my child up from daycare, or I have to pick my child up from school, or I have maybe my sick mother or something in the car. I'm trying to get my mom somewhere. Uh, a man might have a pregnant wife, anything that he's trying to get to the hospital, and Black Lives Matter is blocking up the street. My point is, what does that do? What does it do except make people angry? It does nothing. Go, as I keep saying, and do something big. Do something that's going to make a lasting effect as far as using um, the government in this country. You know, um, one of the other things, I think I've made that clear. One of the other things I wanted to bring about was, the police and these shootings and so forth. I continue to say, and I will continue to say, that I believe that some people have made it okay for these police to become violent toward the public. And as I say, I think one of the entities that they're using is Black Lives Matter. And they're just putting all black people in that. And so it's a reason, well, they're being, because right now what we have is we have a police department who you cannot resist right now. When you tell them no, you're showing resistance. Any sign that they take as aggression will get you thrown down, kicked, beat, possibly shot, and killed. This is where we are right now. And so the thing that I want to bring up, the thing that I want black people to think about is most of these police today, men and women, are coming from the military. They have been in the military. The first thing that the military teaches you from the day you get off the bus is discipline. They begin to pound discipline into you. You have protocols. You cannot deviate and do whatever you want when you are in the military. Now, a lot of these vets, they come fresh from the military and go straight to the police department and get a gun in their hand. And someone, as I keep saying, in my opinion, is telling them, do what you need to do. If they get aggressive, do what you need to do. Because that's what I see. All of the discipline that comes with military training completely goes out of the window. Somebody is telling them that you don't have to adhere to that anymore. It's obvious, because how are you just shooting and killing people and getting off with, they're just not guilty? You're not even getting an explanation. You're not getting reasoning. They're seeing absolutely no jail time. These cops are not even getting fines. They're not even getting fired. It's just kill a person, kill a black person, kill a Hispanic, whatever, and we'll transfer you, let you go somewhere else. If you still want to be a cop, we'll send you to a little small town somewhere down off in the valley where nobody else knows, and they'll accept you and they'll love you, and you can, there has to have been something said that it is okay to do this. And like I say, I think it's all a part of bringing in this new world order, new militarized police. You don't resist, you completely obey, and you run scared and terrified of the police and authority. That is where they want us. I really seriously think they want us like, these movies where they show these futuristic movies with the militarized cops, with the flying cars and all this. I think that's the kind of utopia they're trying to bring about. And, all of the poor people are working and enslaved, and you just have this whole class of rich elite people. That's the world that they want. And I my mind can't fathom that, so I'm not going to even try to go there with that type of thinking, but it seems to me that that's what they want. So Anyway, as I say, getting back to Black Lives Matter, I think that there's a lot of things that Black Lives Matter could do and be getting involved with in the Black community if they are actually working for the Black community. I think that they need to be working all the time, doing something all the time for the Black community. Don't just wait until a Black man gets shot, or, so many of these shootings, they seem to be either fake or some type of psyop or something that's not really fully, completely right, you know. Um, and they're using, like I say, this to help bring in whatever this new world thing that they're trying to bring in. And so I say this is why I cannot and do not stand against or stand for Black Lives Matter. I'm not even going to get into the part about all the gay stuff. A lot of these, the real organizers in and around Black Lives Matter are gay, and it's pushing a gay agenda. And I'm, like I said, that's not really what I came in here to talk about. But let me say quickly, there is nothing that a gay woman could speak up for concerning me or my daughter. And I say that because she wants to be a man. And if she doesn't want to be a man, she's still living a lifestyle where it does not speak to me, to my lifestyle, to me as a heterosexual woman, and the views and that I have and the way that I teach and train my daughter. I don't see why, I don't see how, I'm just going to say, I don't see how a gay woman could speak up for me, even on Black issues, because there's even a scripture that talks about how you can't straddle the fence. You're going to either love one and hate the other. And it's really true. I mean, I really find that most people that are gay and that are trying to stand up for something, usually what their fight for mostly is toward the gay community. That's really what the fight is for. I could really care less who they sleep with. Matter of fact, I would prefer not to know who they sleep with. But if you could leave that there and then come and fight for a real true cause, I could stand behind you. But, from what I see, I just see one big mass clown show with Black Lives Matter. Therefore, I don't support it, can't support it. And I really would advise Black people to go and to look and to see and to do their research on this group and see whether or not is there a need for it, or is there an agenda behind it. Okay, so until the next video, you have a great day, great week, and I'll see you next time.